Henry Winkler, the 75-year-old actor best known for his role as Fonzie on Happy Days, seems to have been doing a great deal of soul-searching in the last few months. But it's not his own soul, it's the soul of the United States that Winkler is most concerned about. On Saturday, July 3rd, Winkler shared a tweet expressing his belief that the U.S. is currently so divided it's going to need some seriously drastic incident to happen for the country to unite. He says only a cataclysmic event could make us depend on one another once again. While it's understandable why Winkler might feel this way considering the current socio-political climate, some of his followers think he isn't giving enough respect to COVID-19. One user reminded Winkler how millions of people have already died as a result of the ongoing pandemic. He then asked Winkler just how cataclysmic he was aiming for with his post. The day before Winkler made his now viral cataclysm tweet, he also shared a vague yet clearly irate thought on the platform. He had a post on July 2nd that said, quote, "If there's no accountability, then his anger will become unmanageable." It's not exactly clear what he was talking about, but one can infer it probably has something to do with current events. Winkler's fans tried to cheer him up. One user even sent him a picture of an adorable dog in a meadow. The pic must have had some kind of effect on Winkler's disposition because he gave the fan a reply with a sincere, albeit brief, response praising the dog for having a loving face. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to FactsVerse if you haven't already. And keep watching to find out how Henry Winkler's very existence was compromised by the Nazis back in World War II. Henry Winkler's 30-year feud with Tom Hanks. For the last 3 decades, Winkler has called Tom Hanks his enemy. Winkler and Hanks have been quietly feuding since 1989. They were working on Turner and Hooch at the time, with Hanks in the lead role and Winkler behind the camera. Both entertainers are two of the most universally loved celebs in the world and have been for quite some time. The feud was recently referenced during an interview, and Winkler tried to act like he didn't understand what the question referred to. While Winkler never mentioned Hanks by name, it's pretty obvious who he was talking about. Talking about the production on Turner and Hooch, Winkler complained he had been directing the film for just 13 days when he was called into the producer Jeff Katzenberg's office and told to pack his things and go home. Hanks was already a star in 1989, but not nearly as big as he is today. But even so, he had quite a bit of pull. It's rumored that Winkler held up production on the film over shooting locations, which led to Hanks complaining to the producers. While it's never been confirmed that Hanks' actions directly led to Winkler being fired, it looks like that may have been what went down. In 2014, Winkler sat for an interview with Howard Stern. In it, he neglected to mention the movie or actor he was referring to, but did say an actor he once worked with threatened to walk from a project if he wasn't removed. When he was asked about the situation in 1993, Winkler quipped he got along better with Hooch than he did with Turner. Hanks and Winkler worked previously together on an episode of Happy Days, where ironically the Fonz and Hanks' character had a long-standing feud, going all the way back to grade school. The two characters end up getting into a tussle, although it's really only Hanks' character who does any of the actual fighting. He busts out some fancy karate moves, but all the Fonz did was walk away and let Hanks tire himself out. Tom Hanks may not even be aware that this feud has been going on. At the end of the day, it could be one-sided, but regardless of anything, let's just hope Winkler and Hanks can find a way to patch up their friendship and let bygones be bygones. Henry Winkler has struggled with dyslexia for years. While Winkler has been wrestling with his political views and relationships with other Hollywood stars, he's also had an invisible battle he's been battling for many years now. In his best-selling children's book, Here's Hank, the main protagonist is a dyslexic kid named Hank Zipser. Winkler, who has dyslexia himself, pulled from his own experiences while writing the series with the help of author Lynn Oliver. Winkler told NPR's Michael Martin he never dreamed that one day he would have his name on a book. When he was younger, he shared that he always thought he was just stupid. People around him called him as such enough times, he eventually started believing it. Winkler wasn't aware he had a learning disability until he was 31. That was when he got his stepson tested and evaluated for dyslexia. When his results came back, Winkler made the profound realization that he wasn't stupid, nor was he lazy. What he had was something real, with a name. The discovery came as a relief, but it brought up anger as well. When he was a young student, his mother and father would often blame his underachievement on laziness that could simply be remedied by long hours of study. Winkler claims that because of his diagnosed learning disability, he spent the majority of his high school years grounded. But through those trials and hardships, Winkler found motivation, not only to succeed, but also to appreciate his differences enough to write a book to help educate others. His struggles gave him the will to keep fighting. After high school, Winkler went on to pave his own road for many years, with the help of improv and memorization. conversation. Through those two things, he was able to appear as if he was keeping up with his peers. His reading disorder would increase the pressure he felt during auditions. He would memorize his lines as quickly as possible because he couldn't read the page and act at the same time. So he improvised the rest. But when they told him he wasn't doing what was written on the page, he replied by saying he was giving them the essence of the character. Humor proved to be another crucial coping mechanism that Winkler would use to combat his struggles. For years, he was embarrassed by the fact that he couldn't read what was on the page. So he turned to humor to cover all the mistakes he would make. Now that he knows exactly what he suffers from, Winkler has used his books to account for the many nuances of dyslexia. The condition can look very different for different people. For some sufferers, dyslexia impedes their ability to read, write, and do math, while other people end up writing backwards. With these unique challenges in mind, Winkler's books contain ample white space on each page, and they're written in a special font created by Dutch designer Christian Boer to improve legibility for the dyslexic brain. Winkler's parents barely escaped the Nazis. Winkler may not have been born if it weren't for the fact that his parents narrowly escaped the Nazis in World War II. 6 years before he was born in Manhattan, his parents were German Jews living in Nazi Germany. One day, Winkler's father, Harry Irving Winkler, informed his wife, Anna Marie, they were leaving Berlin on a business trip to the U.S. What he didn't tell her was they were never coming back. His parents realized that their homeland was turning against people of their ethnic heritage. The streets were overrun by Hitler's brown shirts, who openly attacked the Jewish people. They knew they had no future if they stayed, so they escaped in just the nick of time. Unfortunately, Henry's uncle Helmut wasn't so lucky. The day his parents left the country, Helmut decided to stick around for another day to pick up a custom suit he had commissioned to be tailored for himself. That evening, he was seized by the Nazis and taken away to a concentration camp. It was there he eventually lost his life. Now it's time to hear from you. In the comments section below, let us know what your favorite Happy Days episode was. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.